Hi, welcome to Messier Peace Theater. I'm your host, Mike Messier. On this episode, we have another actress from the series that we're doing here. Her name is Kathy LaShay Berenson. Kathy, did I say everything correctly?
Hi, Mike, you did. You got it right.
And I'm really happy to be working with you again because we have worked together in the past.
Yep.
But only as a writer-actress combo. And do you prefer actress or actor? Is there a difference to you? Or?
I like actor.
Fair enough.
Because I feel like I can do a lot of many different things besides just being a tress.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, let's do actor. That encompasses a lot of things. And
Very
I don't
cool.
like to put any restrictions on myself.
Well, looking at your reel, which we'll see later, you have had a whole variety of intense roles. And the piece we're working on together that night is another intense role. But I'm really impressed with your acting reel that we will see. And also a piece that we worked on together. Like I said, I was the writer, but we had a great director friend. What was her name?
Anne Kulichek or Audrey Noon.
Yes.
I'm not sure which one she likes to go by.
The woman with two names, yes.
Yeah.
And she did a killer job directing a piece that you starred in. And our buddy Seth Chitwood from Angelwood Productions. Seth Chitwood, or I think that's how I pronounce it anyway.
Yeah.
But Seth is a very astute web guy, and meaning that he writes web series. Like that's his realm, that's his universe.
Yep.
And I think you worked with Seth a few times before, is that right?
I actually only worked with him that one time.
Well,
with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was the writer, but once it was in the directing hands of Audrey/Anne, it was awesome. Without further discussion, let's watch that piece, and then we'll kind of analyze that. That was about 5 years ago.
I think it's going on almost 5 years.
Yeah. Time flies.
Yeah.
So let's check out from the In the Bedroom web series from Angelwood Productions, our buddy Seth Chitwood. Let's check out a piece that I wrote, our friend Audrey Noon directed, and our good friend and guest here, Cathy, starred in. The piece is titled Pat and Matrice. Let's check it out.
Mm-hmm. Take that as a sign. Of what? You shouldn't smoke.
It's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine.
What is?
It.
Do you even know what I'm talking about? Well, do you?
No.
Why did you say it would be fine?
I didn't. I don't know. What is this, an inquisition?
What is the point of you lying to me?
I did not.
Surely you did.
I said it was fine because I just wanted to shut you up.
This is painful.
What?
Your malice.
Oh, come on. You're always saying that. There's no malice involved. It's just that
so
you're
annoying the way you lie to me. It's just so annoying, you know that? Deceptive.
Okay, fine. I'm deceptive. I'm also smart, and I vote Republican.
You're not smart.
I am smarter than you.
You're quite peculiar. You're the oddest person I know.
And is this where you stand on the issue?
What issue?
The issue of my human worth.
No. That's not in question.
Why not?
You don't have any children. You don't need to have human worth.
So what? I'm not married.
Exactly. Another issue.
Well, you're not married either.
I'm younger. And divorced.
You see how it worked out for you?
I had 5 good years and 1 good child.
Child who's dead? In the grave?
How fucking dare you!
What you just saw was Pat and Matrice from the In the Bedroom web series by a good friend of me and my guests, Seth Chitwood produced, and Cathy. That was a great team. I mean, you were outstanding. Natasha, your co-star.
Yeah.
And tell us about that experience a little bit, because this was a web series that had a whole lot of people involved. And Seth, like 3 or 4 months before he pulled the trigger on this thing, called me.
Yeah.
I don't know why he asked me for
Okay.
advice, but he's like, I'm going to do it. And I said, man, I said, good luck. I said, there's going to be a lot of egos in this thing. Not our piece specifically, but the
Right.
whole expansive web series had like 100 people involved.
Yeah.
But he pulled it off, and I think a reason why it did is because he was able to put people in teams like you and Natasha and Audrey,
Yeah.
teams that could really work well together. And yeah, from what I understand, you guys filmed in kind of a sketchy hotel or a motel. Like,
Kind of.
Yeah, you had to like vacuum the blood off the dead bodies in there. Tell me about it.
That was really sketchy. I mean, that was beyond sketchy, but it was really cool because, I mean, that set the tone for the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, it was a no-tell motel, I
Right.
think what we call it.
Yeah.
And I think the lock on the door was actually broken.
Oh, boy.
And I mean, there was a lot of weird, sketchy things, but we were safe.
Right.
But that room really lent itself to the whole thing, and it was a character in itself. That
Yeah.
room.
Route 666. Yeah.
We had to clean it up a little bit
Yeah.
before we started filming. 'Cause,
We'll
you know,
knock the blood and guts off the bed for you.
a little edgy, but but it really did set the tone, and I really felt the relationship
Yeah.
between Pat and Matrice. It was a very deep relationship, and the audience could kind of have their own take on what was actually happening
Right.
between the two of them. And I had my own little backstory kind of put in there, so I had a lot of secrets that I think came out in my performance.
You know, when I wrote that piece, I wrote it trying to do something that was non-gender specific. So it could be 2 men, 2 women,
Yeah.
a man and a woman. And as we were kind of dividing up the scripts and casting and making opportunities for people, I think the reason why it became a 2-woman piece is because some of the other scripts had more men than women.
Yeah.
And there was actually more of talented actresses available, or female actors available
Yep.
for the series in general. So kind of, I just said, hey, why don't we make this a double
Yeah.
woman piece?
Yeah.
I think it couldn't have come out any better in my book. And I love the whole thing. And I really liked the music that, you know, a lot of times that type of daunting sound effect might get tiresome. But for this, because it's a short, and then because you start very tense and you end even tenser. I really enjoyed what Audrey, yourself, Natasha, Seth, and whoever else worked on that piece
Yeah.
really. And as a writer, you know, sometimes you write something, if other people direct it or produce it, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you can see something decay or turn to junk. But with this, quite the opposite. So I was very happy with it.
I am glad, because I was very happy with it too. In the beginning, I thought, well, what's this all about? You know, and as I did my investigative work in creating the character, I found some really interesting things in myself that I was able to bring to Matrice,
Right.
which I think really came across.
One thing that I liked was that both actors had, for lack of a better term, props or addictions. One of you's kind of smoking, the other one's drinking. Was that part of your process, like how to approach these type of outside influences, that maybe the characters are caught up in this haze of cigarettes and alcohol, so to speak?
Well, I've been through a lot of that myself in my life, you know, and so I could bring some of that to the character. Not that I was an addict, but you know, I did my fair share of partying and drinking and
Sure.
smoking and all of that stuff. So that was in me already, and I could just let more of that out. And also the relationship. I felt that, you know, we were quite close.
Right.
And I was supplying her with the things that she needed to keep her there for me.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty intense relationship, but that's kind of how I went about it. And then it kind of evolved as, you know, when you get on set, sometimes you find some surprises that you don't know are there or are going to happen. And I found that actually when we were actually filming it, that I had certain emotional things that came up for me that was like, oh, wow, where did that come from?
Was it like a substitution thing? Like, were you using the character that you're playing with Natasha as Pat and Patrice? Were there parts of the dialogue or the relationship or certain moments of looking at each other that were what they call substitutions from your real life experiences?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
But in those moments, little things came to the surface, and I thought, oh, that's coming from that experience that I had in my life. I didn't plan any of that, though, initially. I just let it happen organically.
When you approach something like this, Cathy, do you take a script, do you print it up, do you do like writing exercises, do you read lines with a friend or a family member? And I know every case is different, of course.
Yeah.
But is there a general kind of go-to series of exercises or approaches you take when you develop a character?
I read it. I read it hundreds of times, and I start to come up with little clues to the character and what's happening. I don't make any initial notes on that at first. I just read it a lot, and then things start to bubble up, and then I start to make notes.
Yes.
And for me, I feel like it's a pretty organic process because there's a part of me in every character that I play.
Right.
But as far as that goes, I think it's just like reading it and reading it and reading it.
I want to take a look now at your acting reel. It's only about a minute, but I think it's good because the last couple of years I've been hearing that casting directors, studios, what have you, they're looking for acting reels to be a minute or less. So you're right on the money.
Well, we don't want to bore them. They're very busy people.
Yeah.
And I think they can get a sense right off the bat without seeing a 2 or 3 minute reel.
Well, let's check out your acting reel right now. Okay, so
Sounds
our
good.
guest, Kathy LaShay Berenson, we're going to check out her acting reel right now on Messier Peace Theater.
We're just talking, right?
Yes, Mary, we're just
You
talking.
want me to tell you the truth?
That's all I've ever asked, Marion.
Okay, he kissed me. Does that satisfy you?
It's in business.
You cannot keep throwing that back on him or me.
Annie?
Aren't you going to apologize to me? I admire you for that. I'd like to think I was like that once.
She gets drunk, and she drives out to his house, takes a road flare, and tries to torch his truck.
Jesus. How do you make something like that disappear?
What do you feel? I have my own opinions, but when you see your acting reel like that, what comes to your mind? What are the emotions or the thoughts?
I want to see more.
Okay,
I
good.
want to see more. Just watching it this minute made me think that. I thought, oh, what's going to happen?
Right. Of the pieces?
Of each piece.
Okay.
And I'm very critical
Right.
of my work, but I thought, yeah, I'd like to see what's going to happen next in this scene.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen with she just killed this woman. What's going to happen? So I think having a reel of that length
Right.
to draw people in to say, gee, maybe I want to see her for this role.
Do something else.
Let's call her in to see what else we can find out in the audition process.
Did you edit the reel yourself, or did you have a friend?
I did not.
Okay.
I have tried to do that.
Yeah, I'm not an editor either.
It takes so much time and energy. I had a great friend, an actor, Ian Lyons, did my reel.
I'm not familiar with Ian, but
Does a fantastic job.
well, he did do a great job. So credit to Ian if he's out there watching as he should be. And is he Boston area?
He's Basically New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I did exactly what I don't like to do, which is compare an actor to another actor, but I couldn't help it. I had a couple of comparisons in a good way.
Okay.
With The Knife Stab, it always goes back to Fatal Attraction for me as a youth seeing that movie and sneaking into the theater. Wasn't supposed to see it. I was supposed to go see Dirty Dancing, but I went to see Fatal Attraction. And thinking of Glenn Close and The Rabbit and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Douglas and what a great movie. But I had a really nice moment there in a dark way of that knife stab with the young lady, and it really brought shades of Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction. And then the second comparison, there was a moment a couple of clips later where you just had a really nice, it was an intense, but it was a nice cropping of the camera and lighting. And it reminded me, I want to say the actress's name is Mary Steenburgen.
Oh, yes.
Ted Danson's
I
significant
love
other.
her.
Yeah, she's done some good stuff on Curb Your Enthusiasm in the last 10 years or so as a comedy. But
Yep.
she was all over the place for a while. I think she was in the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks as one of the lawyers, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so, yes.
I think so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But you had a couple of moments. I was like, oh, yeah, because, and like I said, I hate to compare actors to other actors, but sometimes it happens as a natural thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a compliment.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Thanks.
Totally, yeah. Well, I'm very excited about the project we're working on together that night. We've got you, we've got Bradley Rhodes, who's in the wings now for his interview later on the show, and then we had Mary Beth Paul, who was, and when I thought about the people I wanted to put together in this thing, I really was like, wow, this is really going to be a trio here. This is really going to be a good project.
Yeah, I think we've got some talented folks.
Yeah.
And we can go some places with this script.
What did you think when I kind of reached out to you after probably 2 or 3 years of not crossing paths, and I had you in mind for this? What was your reaction upon first getting the email when I reached out to you for this thing?
I was so pleased.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you or anybody reaches out to an actor and says, "Hey, I thought of you for this," I mean, that's huge. That's a big victory for me, and I was thrilled.
Yes.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
That you thought of me after all this time, and thank you.
Oh, you're definitely welcome. And
Yeah.
what you did, which I'll have the guys put in to the show, is you did an acting audition. I kind of already cashed you, but I said it was kind of a funny thing what happened, and maybe I'll break the fourth wall later and tell exactly what happened when Brad comes on. But yeah, I did have you do a little audition reel, like an audition tape for the character. But the funny thing is, I didn't ask anyone else to do one. So you kind of I was like, as long as she doesn't screw it up. You know what I mean?
As long as she doesn't suck, right?
Yeah, right. But I mean, I kind of figured this is not going to be a problem. But just to put the pieces together, visually, if nothing else. But how was your process for doing that audition tape, if you want to go into that a little bit?
Well, I have a setup in my house, blue backdrop and a camera set. I use my phone because that's the easiest thing for me. But I always love to do stuff like that.
Right.
I love to do self-tapes, sure, yeah. I did some creative work on it, of course, what I had to work with. And I pieced you asked me to piece some things together.
Right.
Some lines, and I chose what I thought would read well. And I just had some fun with it.
Yeah, and
I
liked what you did, because what I was looking for was when I said, just take some lines of dialogue and make a monologue. Because that's going to filter out, not that you would fall into this category, but some other actors, once you ask them to actually do something, they're going to fall away. Not you, but others. I've experienced that. Like you ask them to do one little thing, it's like asking them to learn foreign language overnight or something. Like just to do a little interactive thing with the script.
Yeah.
You didn't falter at all, and I think within 1 or 2 days you had this thing.
Yeah.
And so let's check out the audition tape right now.
Okay.
Let's check out Kathy LaShay Berenson's audition tape for that night, right here on Messier Peace Theater.
I'm just bullshitting you. I got divorced like everybody else. I really should have pursued drama when we were in college. I was really quite the actress. Well, that didn't work out, did it? Oh, well. What have you been up to? Found Mr. Right yet? Must meet a lot of interesting men in your field. All those interviews and all those famous people. I do catch your column online, and every once in a while I watch your TV show. Well, there you are, right in my living room every day. Positive Choices with Dr. Ellen Council. Now that's got to be a stage name because I know your name ain't Council. Anyway, I do like your show when I catch it. Must keep you really busy. I bet there's a lot of money in what you're doing.
So Cathy, that was your audition tape. Sorry for the hard comeback here, but
That's okay.
I was excited because I really liked that audition tape, and I just said, okay, no more auditions. I don't have to reach out to anybody else because, you know, being around the area as long as I have, you know, sometimes you want to do something where you reach out to everybody and here's a big audition and go to Facebook and answer a bunch of questions, and other times you just get sick of that process and you're like, okay, I know this person's going to be great for this. I know this person will be great. Let me just, you know, facilitate this thing. As your experience as an actor in the New England area, what's some of your tips or suggestions for maybe people that are coming up? Should they do a lot of online networking? Should they do a lot of in-person networking? Should they take certain classes? What do you think?
Well, I'm always working on my craft. I have done so many classes, and I continue to constantly take classes. Right now, I take class in New York because you never learn everything. There's so much to learn about yourself and the craft. And for younger people who are just starting, classes.
Right.
Really, take classes. Don't worry about networking right away. Just, I mean, you gotta get in there and find out what it's all about, and find out about yourself, really, because acting is all about, you know, shedding your skin, and you've got to be comfortable in your skin to be able to, you know, play believable characters.
Right.
So I would say lots of classes.
And I think that's great knowledge and insight from you. And as an acting coach, I appreciate you saying that. And I was also impressed just now. You said you're going to New York.
Yeah.
And to me, not that, you know, New York or LA are the be all end all, but it shows commitment on your part.
Yeah.
And sacrifice. And then you're taking, whether it's you're driving yourself, taking a bus or a train, however you're getting from, you know, the Boston, Cambridge area to New York. Well, what's that process like? Do you drive yourself? What do you do?
This particular, I work with a coach out of London, and this will be the 4th time I've seen him. It's a week long. So drive down. It's a week long. I mean, it's from 10 to 6 every day.
Wow.
And it's intense, man.
Yeah.
And it's great. But driving down is what I do.
That's intense.
Yeah, it's great though.
When's that going to be?
That's the end of June.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of June for, I think it's 6 days.
That is intense. And are you going to stay in New York the whole week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great, but it's grueling because, I mean, you're in that class from 10 to 6 with an hour break, and you're going at it.
Reminds me of kind of a film acting, directing class I took with a guy named Barry Primus up in Maine. And Barry was kind of my own personal guru of acting. He had worked as a peer with Uta Hagen, I believe. Not even as her student, but like he was her friend.
Wow.
You know, and Barry was the first director for a film by Tribeca Studios, like the first film that they released, which I think was in 1992, called Mistress. And Barry was the director of that, and he directed De Niro and Christopher Walken, and he was in, I think, Martin Scorsese's second film, which was titled Boxcar Bertha. This guy, Barry, my acting teacher, was like the star of it with Barbara Hershey. So, I mean, talk about a resume. And to this day, you know, a movie came out 7 or 8 years ago, Righteous Kill, with De Niro and Pacino. And I remember being at the film acting class in Maine, and Barry's like, oh yeah, I want to be in this De Niro and Pacino, but he doesn't call him, he's like Bobby and Al, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And he's got this scene where he's like the police investigator investigating those two guys. And it's like, you know, So it's always good to kind of associate and learn from people who've been around the block, so to speak.
Yeah, and I've maxed myself out in Boston. I've taken, I think, every class that there was, you know, and is. So, you know, just expanding. It's all about expansion and, you know, moving forward. And, you know, whatever happens, you know, we'll see.
We have a couple of headshots of your acting experiences, like
Okay.
different roles that you've taken on.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at Kathy's headshots at this time. Let's see if we can get those up. These are, now what's this? This is a set of a short or a feature film?
Oh yeah, this was a feature film. This was called The Immigrant. It's a great film. That's the director on the left. It's based on a Bosnian, she's from Bosnia, and it's about a young girl who comes to the U.S. In search of, you know, the pot of gold.
Right.
And I actually play the lawyer. She's cleaning the office that I work in, and I've taken her under my wing and trying to help her out to figure out where she might want to go with her life. And I actually she reached out to me via New England Actor, and I did a Skype interview, and she hired me for this, and it was a great part.
Nice.
I really loved it. So that was on the set. Yeah.
I like that painting in the background too. It was very colorful.
Yeah. Did a
take
nice job on that.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the next photograph if we can. Okay, I like this picture too.
Okay,
What's
this is the same character. This is Karen, and she's giving Yasmina, the young Bosnian girl, some words of wisdom.
Right.
And I think that comes across in that photo pretty well.
It looks like kind of like if you didn't know what it was from, you'd think it was like a you know, weekly lawyer show or something. Like a,
Well, yeah.
you know, investigative.
I tend to get those
Yeah,
kinds
that's fine,
of
though.
things.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see what we have next. And oh, here we go. And this is kind of your promo pic. And
Yes.
I did a little. I'm not sure. Do you remember who took this headshot for you?
Yeah, Kristen Hoberman. I'm actually going to go see her at the end of June for some more shots, some more new photos. But she's in New York City. She's a phenomenal photographer, and she took that photo.
And just a great photo by her. I kind of touched this up a little bit with some filtering to put a little intensity for the character that we're doing. The way that she took it is probably more universal, but for what we're doing, I wanted to have a little more contrast.
Yeah,
in case she's wondering what happened to her photograph. She's like, what happened?
Oh, no. Yeah. She's fine.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful.
And this one's a cool photo, too. This is from.
Yeah. Well, you remember when you saw my reel, I shouldn't give this away, but I'm that creepy substitute teacher in a short film called Pretty Boy.
Okay.
Actually, I was a killer.
Oh, wow. Oh, you did give it away. All right.
I did. Oh, well, that's okay.
And who would you work on with that?
That was actually a great crew of Emerson students. I love working with students because I loved lending my expertise to them. These young kids who are starting out and they have so much talent. So I often lend my talents to students, Emerson, BU.
Yes.
And so that was one of their projects, which ended up winning a couple of awards.
Are you getting those through Carolyn Pickman and CP Casting?
Actually, I worked with Carolyn and BU over the spring.
Okay.
I worked at the BU Actors Lab, and that was terrific.
I see her, she puts up the post that the students need actors, and it is a great opportunity that I would encourage people to investigate because what people may not realize is, oh, I'm going to go do this student film. No, you see, first of all, you're almost guaranteed that the film is going to be finished because the students need to get their grades. So they're, quite literally, their future depends on them doing a good job.
Yeah.
And finishing. And to be quite honest, and you know, in my younger days, I might have been the victim of this as well, or the perpetrator of not finishing stuff. You know, you have some great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe even get some people. You get a camera. You film a couple. And then it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, when you have projects that don't get finished, and I really have a word that I like to try to apply to myself as much as possible, which is be a finisher.
Yeah.
And these kids,
They are finishers.
they got to be finishers.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
In a timely fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I never say never. It's got to be the right role. It's got to be something that jumps out at me like that was, because I love those edgy, these edgy women. But yeah, no, I don't say no to these things because it's fun for me. And it's fun for me to work with these kids. And it's a creative process, and I love the creative process. So,
Speaking on the creative process, because it's funny, you and I have worked together now, and this is the second time, but we haven't really been in the same place at the same time.
No, we haven't.
So I don't know too much about you. For instance, for some reason I'm thinking, did you ever sing or play a musical instrument or do dance? Did you ever do anything in those type of art realms or what?
Well, I am a dancer. I've danced for longer than I've been acting, and which brings me to the point of movement for actors. Everybody should be taking dance classes and movement classes if they're an actor. I do ballet, I do improv dance, I do modern. Last night I did Bollywood.
Interesting.
Whatever floats my boat that particular day. And I also do a meditation and Qigong practice every morning. So, but movement for actors, yes. And I was a dancer, so I did a lot of performing and, yeah.
You're going to have to tell me what Qigong is. I'm thinking of Tai Chi, or I'm thinking of yoga.
It is. It's like, it's a form of Tai Chi.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a moving meditation, as is in simple terms, using your Qi, your energy, to be fluid in your movements and in your mind and your body.
It's so easy to get stressed out these days.
Yeah.
And especially living in New England where you drive for 5 feet, you hit a pothole or a porcupine or a wolf or your neighbor's cat. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm making this stuff up. Don't get sorry. But how do you, is doing the, how's it pronounced again? The
Qigong.
Qigong is every morning. Do you do that in your home? Do you go
In my
outside?
home.
Oh, wow.
I do a 10-minute meditation. That's the first thing I do when I get out of bed.
Right.
And then I write. I mentioned I write also my morning pages.
Tell me about this. Is this a journal or a book?
This is something my acting coach recommended that I do. It's 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing, whatever comes to your mind, and I do that every morning as well. I forgot that. So it's a whole little process, a ritual that I have in the morning that keeps me grounded, it keeps me open, it keeps me, little things, big things, they don't affect me like they used to. And it's helpful.
You and I were talking before the show started about an acting book / PBS special, Michael Caine acting in film.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it, and then you said you've read the book version like 100 times or 200 times.
I have it.
Wow.
It's by my bed with all my other acting paraphernalia.
I'm visualizing it as like a blue and white cover, but I could be wrong. Or black and white cover.
I think it's gray and black. I don't know, but his face is on it.
Yeah. And if people, it is YouTubeable, so to speak. It's Michael Caine acting in film, PBS.
Yeah.
I want to say 78 or 81.
Yeah, it's an oldie.
Yeah, but he's just got so much loaded information in that 55-minute film and then the book version that you have.
It still translates. We still, we need to know this stuff.
There's a certain era of, I guess you'd call it pop culture, that I'm really into, which is kind of like, Joseph Campbell and mythology and heroes and the hero's journey. And it seems like there was a pocket of time, maybe I want to say 1978 to 81, where things were really, maybe the excess of the 60s and 70s were given away to this kind of new age thought, but with a lot of historical stuff and myth and things like that kind of mixed in. And you had movies at the time, Bonnie and Clyde, the Godfather films, Rocky even, although they're very mainstream, but still, that's a hero's journey if there ever was one. And I wonder today if people are experiencing that same type of thing. Maybe they are and I'm just missing out. But when I think about they've made another comic book movie and people are going to see it. They don't really want to because they just saw one last week that was very similar.
Right.
But they're buying their $15 ticket and their $5 plastic cup of soda because they feel that they have to catch up with the series. They have to be informed on what villain's going to die or what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That stuff, I just do my own thing. The hero on the quest thing is, we're all heroes on a quest. But the comic book, is that what you're
I don't know. I'm
going
just
at?
kind of.
Well, that's not my thing.
Right.
I'm not, I guess I'm not of that generation.
I hear you.
I mean, I'm just not into it. Doesn't interest me in the slightest. I mean, I give people props for doing it and all the work that goes into it. I'd rather watch something a little more real that evokes different feelings, certain feelings in me when I watch it.
Let's talk about, because we've talked about so many things, but we've got about 10, 12 minutes left, and
Okay.
we got to dig deep a little bit into what we're doing here with the That Night short film, because this series is introducing the actors involved. Your character is kind of, in a sense, the centerpiece of it all. Tell me about why I might say that. Carol Walters, I believe.
Yeah, well, I've yet to, I mean, I'm still working on her.
Yes.
Well, she's gone through a lot of things in her life. I'm not going to, I don't want to say too much, but wow, yeah, I'm processing this right now. I maybe come back to this because I just I'm kind of bubbling away inside about.
I think
my thoughts on this.
Well, I think I'll speak on the piece a little bit. What I'm trying to do with That Night is there's two time spots. If nothing else, the characters are speaking in present time.
Yep.
But they're also reuniting after a series of years where they've all gone off, done their different thing.
Yep.
But so to speak, there is a grudge or a stone left unturned from the last time they were all involved together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to explore in the writing of this, how long can you hold a grudge and how deeply can you hold it? You know what I mean? And I think pretty dark, I think pretty strong and pretty deep for a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know?
I think so too. You got me thinking now.
How long can you be pissed off about something? And for me, the answer is quite some time.
Yeah.
You know, because when I think about my own life, there are things that happened to me as a kid that I'm still angry about.
Yeah.
And I wonder if other people are like that too, if that's a universal thing. And maybe it's not, I don't know.
Well, I know personally, I was one of those people that tended to hold grudges, but since I've done a lot of personal work with myself and the meditation and all of that stuff, I find that that's dropping away now. But I used to be one of those people. I was like, no, you did that to me. Never going to talk to you again. You're out of here.
Yeah.
But
I relate to that.
You're done. And I was bad.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a little deep with this character. I've yet to find all of that yet, but it's going to be fun.
When social media, especially our good buddy Facebook, popped in, and you'd see these friend suggestions.
Yeah.
And it's like so you went to high school, say, with 5 or 10 people, and then those 5 or 10 people that you're friends with now on Facebook are also friends with such and such. You know, that you went to high school with, but you and that person weren't friends with. In fact, maybe that person screwed you over. And I remember reaching out to some of the people that screwed me over. Hey, you remember what a jerk you were?
Yeah.
And having these kind of messages that I'm thinking, this is pretty weird. Like this thing where we're high school, elementary school, college, whatever it is, we're separated from some of these people.
Yep.
You would think that you would keep up to date with the people you really cared about. Like, oh, here's my 5 friends from college I really care about. But now you have this online platform at the touch of your fingertips where you're saying, oh, here's the girl that rejected me. Here's the, the football player that punched me in the face at the keg party. All these wonderful jerks that you hate. Yeah. And they're all right there in front of you. And it makes the world bigger yet smaller in some weird, bizarre way.
Yeah.
And not that that's really, our piece has nothing to do with social media except for these characters have kind of kept in touch with each other through the media.
Yeah.
You know, one character has kind of seen the other character on television, for instance. So there's a lack of balance.
Yeah.
You know, one is more exposed to the other than the other is to that one.
The other one is in the shadows, so to speak.
Right. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, it's going to be an interesting experience.
It's going to be exciting.
And have you worked with, for instance, Mary Beth Paul on anything? No, I have not. Okay.
No, and I'm excited to.
Yes.
And I've not worked with Bradley either, so hey, let's bring it on.
Let's add these ingredients.
Yeah, let's spice it up.
Spice it up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's going to be great.
How do you like living in New England or the Cambridge, Boston?
I love Cambridge.
Okay.
I absolutely love Cambridge. I feel like I have everything there at my fingertips. Great theater. My dance studio is right down the street from my house. I love the openness of Cambridge. I mean, it's just a fabulous place to live, and I don't know where else I would live. Every time I go away or I go down to New York, and as much as I love New York, oh God, I'm so exhausted when I leave there. I come back home and I'm like, yeah, this is where I want to be.
This is your spot.
You know, if work takes me to New York, to LA, so be it. Great. But I don't know. I think I'm Cambridge home base girl. Yeah.
Were you born in that area?
I wasn't. I was born in Connecticut originally.
Okay.
Yep.
What city or town?
I was born in Manchester, Connecticut.
Okay,
It was near
cool.
Hartford.
Nice.
But I spent most of my formative years in Connecticut, although we did move around a lot when I was a child. My dad, with his job. So
Did you go to different like elementary schools and high schools?
I went to Maine. I lived there for 3 or 4 years, and then we went to Richmond, Virginia.
Interesting.
And I lived there, and I was always seemed like we were always moving, but I was pretty much a loner.
Right.
And you know, I'd make friends, and then we'd have to move, and that was difficult.
Yes.
But in retrospect, I'm really glad it happened, because it just made me, you know, who I am today.
I guess you'd have to be outgoing in order to strike up, unless you
I had to be, although it really wasn't in my nature at the time.
Right.
It's taken me a long time to get to where I am now, to this point that I'm comfortable now with myself as a human being. And acting has helped me a lot with that.
Were you only child, or did you have siblings?
I have 2 sisters,
Okay.
2 younger sisters, so I was the oldest.
And you had to kind of champion them as...
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I had to champion them and other family members as well. So.
Was it a military family?
No.
Just the work, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I remember when I was growing up, a friend of mine whose father was an Air Force guy, and they had this long poem on the wall of the home. And it was in what's it called, upholstery or you know, a sewed or whatever, sewing.
Yep.
And it was, my father is an Air Force man, and now I've learned to see how his life gives and takes and what it's meant to me. Forever moving, never still, from place to different place. Our homes have numbered many, and each address a base. I remember many times staying up late when my dad, he would come back, and he'd kiss my weary mother on the cheek and say, "We're transferred, start to pack." And I mean,
this is how I felt. Yeah, oh God, it was like, no, we can't go. We don't want to, no more. I want to stay here. Yeah, that's priceless.
And I remember
it.
going over to this guy's house, to give him credit, Randall James Mack, whose birthday is actually today, June 2nd. And I would go to this guy's house, and I would see on the wall of their home this poem, and I would get such a kick out of it, because I had lived in the same home pretty much for my whole life.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm going over there in great animated fashion, reading my father is an Air Force man. Yeah. And to me, it was a comedy, because like just the sad punchline of "we're transferred, start to pack."
Yeah.
Packing such an emotional wallop. But to Randy and his family, I guess it wasn't a joke, because they had to live with it.
Yeah.
You know, they had to, we're transferred, start to pack.
Oh God.
What a line. But I mean, to me, just thinking about moving and packing up all your stuff. And
Yeah.
what can you take? What do you get rid of?
Right. What's important
stressful.
to you? Yeah, for sure.
Because we are kind of a collection of our things on some level. We
Yeah.
try not to be. We try to be above it all, above materialism. But if you have a photo album, I mean, a friend of mine who works in Shanghai, Spain, she travels the world for work as a teacher and as an artist. And she's narrowed her life down to 2 bags, literally like a giant backpack. And this girl's about 5'2" or 3.
Wow.
So she's got this 40-pound backpack and then like 1 suitcase.
I would love to do that.
Well,
Sounds great.
yeah, but I mean, I'm telling you, and I remember she crashed in my apartment for a few days a couple of years ago, and she was so concerned about her stuff that like we'd have to like lock all my windows and shut the shade. I'm like, I've been here for 10 years, no one's messed with my stuff.
Yeah.
But for her,
It's all
her
she
whole life
has.
is in these bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
It's intense.
Well, it is intense. And maybe that's why I want to stay put.
Well, I mean, the thing, everyone's different. So if you and your husband are very happy in Cambridge, and that's the way that's good. And there is work coming to New England.
And well, I will work wherever. I mean, if I get hired in New York, I'll be there in a heartbeat.
Right.
So I don't have any qualms about that. Travel, I love to travel.
Yes.
But I need a solid home base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've got it.
Yeah.
Sounds very good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else happening for you as we go from spring to summer of 2019? Any other projects or events happening?
Well, I had a lot of victories this first half of the year, personal victories. One of which, and people may not think it's a victory, but I do. I was asked to read for my first co-star role for a TV show.
Oh, that's awesome.
This a couple months ago. I received the invitation to audition through one of the casting directors who knows me very well. And it was a 6-page audition.
Wow.
And I got it 2 days before the audition, and I did my work on it, and I got to tell you, I felt like $1 million.
That's great.
I didn't get the role, but I never expect to.
Right.
So I didn't have any, I just went and did my work and left there feeling like $1 million.
That's great. And good for you for sharing that, because a lot of times actors especially, it's such a business of perpetual rejection that seeing the power of having a great audition, because there's nothing bad coming from a great audition or even a good audition.
Oh, and that's why I keep getting called in, because now they know, after they've known me for 8 years now, these casting directors, and they've seen how I've progressed over the years and all the work that I've done. And now they know that I can do the role.
Right.
So that for me is huge.
That is huge.
Yeah.
And I had, as an actor myself, an audition last week, and I came out of there, I analyzed it, and I'm like, you know what? I think I was in the moment.
Yeah.
I think I broke it down to 3 things. The moment of the audition, the process before.
Yep.
And the look. And I said, of the 3, I don't think I really look like the role. Like, I think like I could, but I don't think I really do.
But what do they want?
Well, who knows?
Who
But I
knows,
said,
right?
if I was casting this general, I'd cast my buddy William Decoff in this thing.
Okay, yep.
Ex-military guy.
Yep.
But I'm
Yep.
thinking, I'd still like to do it.
Sure.
And I didn't tell Decoff about the audition, so I got that over him because he wasn't there. But we're wrapping this up, and I just want to say, time does fly. Messier Peace Theater, Episode 2, and Kathy LaShay Berenson. Such a pleasure to get to know you better as we start this project of that night. And I want to thank you for being on board, and thanks for coming to the
I'm
studio.
so excited. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you,
It was
Cathy.
a pleasure.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Episode 2 of Messier Peace Theater with our guest, Kathy LaShay Berenson, who will be playing Kathy Walters in the piece. We look forward to seeing you more on Messier Peace Theater.